Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So it's looking like it may be another fantastic day for Bitcoin and crypto. And that is why many are adopting it and why many are going all in on it. So let's talk about why that concept is a good idea, especially now, and look at everything else that's going on today. All right. Let's do it, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are starting out today about 105,500, which is roughly where we were yesterday. But today, a lot of alts are coming back up. And the U.S. market may be turning pretty green today. So that's definitely going to help. A lot of the crypto related stocks are definitely going up today, so that's good. But overall, it's been pretty darn good for Bitcoin and crypto, okay, for many, many reasons. Let's start out with some of the macro stuff that's helping. This came out. The OECD, which is the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, yeah, they're not so fond of tariffs, and they think growth is going to be stalled in the U.S. Okay, obviously, Trump administration are still trying to work out all these trade deals, right? And we're still waiting to hear. Last night, I covered how Basant said there are many that are being worked on right now. And the big one with U.S. and China, obviously, is being worked on too. But in the meantime, a lot of global trade and exports, they're all kind of like dampened right now, I guess. The mood is sour. And that's why a lot of people are predicting that, economic growth is going to be cut dramatically this year unless things change, right? But things like this, they don't sound so good, but it is turning a lot of people to Bitcoin because they're sick of this, right? Sick of hearing about this, sick of hearing about rates, right? Whether or not we're going to get one, we're going to get a rate cut, right? They're sick of hearing about debt and deficit and sick of hearing about inflation, right? Price of eggs. People still talk about that, right? People just want to opt out. And opt-in is something that they understand, something that they can buy and hold and will just appreciate because of the scarcity factor and because you can't artificially inflate it and you can't apply monetary policy to it, and it's not controlled by Trump or any administration out there, right? That's why more and more people are opting into Bitcoin right now and going all in on Bitcoin because of it. Speaking of national debt and all that stuff, I mean, right now the U.S. debt has ballooned to $36.5 trillion. We approximately add $1 trillion worth of debt in 100 days now. So think about that. Every 3 months, we add another trillion to the deficit. 1 trillion every 100 days to the deficit, right? And a new bill that is, the new tax bill thing / whatever others that got added on, that thing is going to add even more trillions to the deficit over the next 10 years. None of this is going to stop. And what this is going to do is rob people of their buying power. Because when the debt goes up, guess what? The U.S. has to borrow more. The U.S. has to print more. Those are only two solutions. And neither one are good. And it's going to cause fiat to collapse and become more worthless. Again, why everyone is starting to really pay attention to Bitcoin and why so many corporations now and institutions are adopting because they want to get out of this, opt out of this. So here's an example. Here's a brand new company called 21, created with Jack Mallers at the head and Tether and Bitfinex actually being part of this, donating 42,000 Bitcoin to this company, and they get some equity, right? But they plan on buying another 462 million in Bitcoin, and they're implementing Sailor strategy to continue to buy more and more and more Bitcoin. So this is an example of someone within, or companies within already the space, that really believe in Bitcoin and they want to help it grow, right? Help it grow and help themselves by just hoarding a whole bunch of it, right? But you have many, many new companies that are coming in for the first time. Here's something. You have this company, Norway's NBX. Their stock went up 138% just because they bought 6 Bitcoin. Not 60, not 600, not 6,000. Just by buying 6 Bitcoin, adding to the treasury, caused their stock to skyrocket. So obviously, markets reacting positively around the world, not just the US, with any company that is now embracing a Bitcoin strategy. Because again, people are realizing you can't trust central banks, you can't trust fiat, you can't trust governments when it comes to money. There's too much shenanigans. So you got to trust something that's pure, like Bitcoin, right? So another example of a company coming in. Here's another one. Oh, this is an existing company, but Blockchain Group purchased $60 million worth of Bitcoin, right? And you have another company, K33 buys 10 Bitcoin. I mean, it's just every single day, right? Last few days, I covered other companies that have gone in, some with much bigger purchases, like 100 million or 200 million or 1.2 billion. GameStop also recently came in. You know, it's just non-stop. MEtaPlanet, of course, they're like the second. They're like the baby strategy now. And their CEO did an interview and said, hey, I tell my friends to put 100% their net wealth into Bitcoin, right? Looking very much like Sailor now with that black suit jacket and a Bitcoin shirt. He is mimicking Sailor in every way possible, including purchases. He's upping his purchases now like crazy. He just bought 1,088 Bitcoin recently, and his buys keep on increasing. And he could afford to do so because MEtaPlanet is now the #1 stock in both value and volume, and that's in Japan. Again, you're talking about, what is MEtaPlanet? They're a gaming company, or they were. Now they are just a Bitcoin company, basically, just like Strategy. Strategy used to be a business intelligence company. I'm sure they still have some operations, running, but now it's just a Bitcoin accumulation company, right? Same deal with MEtaPlanet, and that is why their stock is so hot. Okay, everyone in Japan wants MEtaPlanet right now, right? It's just fantastic. And of course, outside of these companies and their stocks, you have the ETFs, right? This is very interesting. If you look at that, if you don't quite understand what you're looking at, BlackRock, which has been accumulating Bitcoin like crazy, their IBIT, which is their ETF, spot ETF, is the 23rd largest ETF that they have, okay? And look at the year, like kind of like the age of these ETFs. All the other ones on here are like 20 plus, okay? Even the ones that are like fairly new that are on this list has been in existence for 12, 13, 14 years. Bitcoin IBIT has only been around 1.4 years, and it's already the 23rd largest ETF by AUM. Now imagine 10 years from now. Imagine 20 years from now, okay, what the asset will be like. In another 4 years or 5 years, the iShares Bitcoin Trust could be at number 1 already. Could be above even the S&P 500 ETF. That's how much demand there is, and that's how much Larry Fink believes in it and continues to load up on it. It's absolutely insane. Insane. And you got crypto mom Hester Pierce that continues to push new innovations like this for people that do hold these ETFs. Rather than sell it and redeem cash, you could sell it and redeem Bitcoin. That would be awesome, right? So that actually alleviates some of the sell pressure, because there's times where ETFs get sold off. A lot of people are selling it off, but rather than sell off, they could just take the Bitcoin. So actually then nothing gets sold off. It's just a transference. So that would be pretty big. I don't even know how that would work, but could be pretty big if it gets approved. Now, other things, okay? This is also related to macro. Obviously, as more and more people get fearful of what's going on with the US and that and everything, right? The strength of the dollar is going down. In many ways, strength of the dollar going down is good for the nation. It allows other nations or other investors to come in and invest and build and so forth. But also, if you look at the dollar going down, we have seen periods like this before. Usually when it goes down, it's good for other investments as well, because people are pulling out of the dollar and putting it into other things. They want to sort of preserve their wealth. And whenever you see DXY really come down, you really see a good growth spurt, I guess, for Bitcoin. And it's happening right now, right? You're seeing that. So this is the DXY going up in like a channel, but we're on the bottom end of that channel. If we could break through the lower end and have the dollar strength go down even further, that's definitely going to help Bitcoin and crypto in a big way. And stocks too, right? So we have that going. Also, we have this going. We have a golden cross that has just formed on the 4-hour. Golden crosses are usually really good. They're lagging. This whole cross thing is a lagging indicator, right? But you could see last time we had a death cross like a month ago, and we went down a little bit. Now we're in the golden cross era. And of course, we have the DXY, not DXY, we have the M2 money supply also going up. That helps. So we may be mimicking some of the previous cycles, even though the conditions are very different. But movements tend to rhyme, I guess, with previous cycles. And it's looking very similar to the 2021 cycle. Okay, the last cycle that we had. It's very, very similar. So we know that next leg up is around the corner. We know that going back to our 111 and breaking above to possibly 130, 140, that's right around the corner. But that's not going to be the top of this cycle. No, we're going to keep on going. We just need to get through what we're going through now, and then we will be there. It always happens. And plus, there's more progress on the Genius Act, right? There's rumors that may even get resolved this week. That will be another big thing. Even though it just involves stable coins, but overall it's just showing that innovation is going to be moving forward because of this new framework for stable coins. So that's very good. And then lastly, I saw this. Recently we've been covering a lot about James Nguyen, right? He got liquidated first time. Yesterday, he was about to get liquidated, but he cut his losses and he just took a $13.4 million loss, which is no good. But the reason why this tends to happen is because, you know, with the market makers, they always try to clear out the leverage. Okay. And they do this all the time, and everyone knows this. This market manipulation, it just seems like all the big boys, or when there's too much leverage on one side, they tend to wipe it out, right? So CZ proposes a dark pool perpetual DEX so that no one could see each other's trades, and you can't see the liquidation from people, right? Because on traditional sexes, they could see it. Like if you're trading on Binance or KuCoin or wherever, they could see the order books internally, right? On like Hyperliquid or anything else, like a perpetual DEX, people can also see it. That's why we always see these screenshots of liquidation levels and stuff. But if you make a dark pool, meaning that no one can see each other's trades, then that could potentially decrease these like wipeouts and manipulation. It's an interesting concept. But then you're going away from the decentralization, right? Which is what everyone wants to see. Transparency and decentralization. If you hide it, I don't know if it's less decentralized or not. Maybe. But it's interesting. Interesting thought. All right. That's pretty much it. Let's see. Yeah, MicroStrategy is doing good, up 2.57%. Coinbase up slightly. If this will load, it's really slow. And then Robinhood up huge, 52-week high, above 70. They just completed the 200 million buy of Bitstamp. So they're going to go all in on crypto in addition to their stocks. Yeah. Robinhood has been on fire. All right. And Bitcoin is still doing well. All right. Let's do some Q&A. Let's see. Thera. George, I am in WIF and bonk instead of DeFi. Did I make the right move? Not right or wrong, but obviously during the weak times, holding WIF and bonk really hurt. But during the good times, it's not bad, right? But all the memes obviously have not done well over the last 5 months. The hope is they do come back when we get hotter again. So we'll see if that's true. Richard, when you're walking in Vegas, you look fit and trim. What is the secret? It's been a while. I actually think, I actually gained back a little weight, so I actually thought I wasn't looking so fit. But yeah, I mostly just try to, stay away from carbs, still watch what I eat. Although I still snack and cheat every so often, and just try to work out as much as possible. If you don't like working out, just go for long walks. I love walking with just the headphones on and just listening to music. And when you listen to music, just time goes by much quicker. So if you don't like to exercise or do cardio, I mostly just bike, but you know, if you don't like doing that, just go for long walks. Anything to get outside and just move. Did I buy Orange Watch? No, because I ran out of time. I was gonna go back to that. I think they're called Coin Vigilante. They were the ones that selling the watches, and in my opinion, they look great. I really like the way they look. They look like AP watches, but they look really unique. I'm probably gonna get some. I want to reach out to the guy because he wanted to. I forgot his name, but he wants to make a deal. So, you know, I might become an affiliate and help him sell some watches. I'm gonna sell some other stuff too on my website. Small little stuff. I don't know where I'm gonna put it. The greed index is still at 58. Crawfish, well, I appreciate that. Hopefully, I'm not putting you to sleep while you're driving. In case you guys did not know, my new website, CryptosRUs.com, if you go into the dashboard, okay, I know a lot of you guys follow my DCA portfolio. Now you can see it all the time, right? This is my DCA portfolio that I've been DCAing since 2021. It is a sample portfolio, but nevertheless, I've been adding to it. I made a few changes over the years, not many. And you could see up 85% still. And as the bull market continues, this is going to go higher and higher and higher and higher. I think this may end up being around 200,000 by the end of the cycle. It's very ambitious since alts have not been doing so well, but I still believe that we'll get some sort of altcoin season. What is your minimum BTC target? The absolute minimum, I would say, is like 150. I just don't see us not hitting at least 150 this cycle. But I really think it's going to be between 200 and 250, somewhere around there. But many are much more bullish and think we could go higher. And I think it can if the conditions in the US and around the world gets worse. How many of you guys have been to Bali before? I'm being invited to this mini retreat slash conference in Bali. I see a lot of vacation pictures, the beaches and water looks beautiful. It's not very easy for me to go there, but just wondering how many of you guys have been there. Seems like a lot of you guys have been there. I have not been there. Seven times, Dan? That's crazy. Yeah, if I do go, you know, like since so many people enjoy my vlog video, I may do that. I may just do that for my whole like my whole travel there. Dan, I appreciate that. 5 gifted membership. I may just like record myself, you know, like just doing the whole experience there, including the conference. Would I ever move from the US? No. I would definitely visit a lot of other countries, but I don't think I would move outside the US. I'm hoping that Trump can implement no capital gains for crypto. Uh, that would be huge. It's surprising how many people in the US don't even have a passport. There are so many people in the US that never have traveled outside nor want to travel outside. Um, you know, when you stay in the US, no matter where you go, it's like the same vibe. But if you go outside the US, it's very different. But it's surprising how many people I meet. They'll say, well, like, I never been outside the US, nor do I want to go outside the US. That just like shocks me. Have I been to Hawaii? No. I plan on going this summer. Hawaii is actually pretty cheap these days. Um, it was as much as like going to Asia before, but now it's much cheaper. Bali is super cheap. $10 gets you a three-course dinner and drink. I don't know if it's that cheap. I guess it depends on what kind of place you eat at. Flights to Hawaii is much cheaper than flights saying going to Europe, which is the same amount of time, and much cheaper than going to Asia for sure. Yeah, Gene, a lot of people have told me how beautiful Hawaii is, um, but obviously it's a tourist place, so I think the prices are gonna be a little inflated. But you know, I think I'm gonna finally check it out this summer. I bet Prime shipping, Amazon Prime shipping, is very difficult in somewhere like Hawaii. Like in mainland, you could get anything within 2 days. And with most things, you could get it the same day. I just can't see the same thing happening in somewhere like Hawaii. H Bar Dano, what do you recommend the first place to visit as a newbie? You mean traveling? Like, or where to go learn crypto? Clarify that. I lived in Hawaii by accident for 2 years. How do you live somewhere by accident? Travel. I don't know. In the US, the most enjoyable place for me has been like it depends on what you want to do. If you want to party, then Miami would be the best. Gambling, of course, Vegas, and partying somewhat. For like relaxation, I think like San Diego is awesome. Um, like forest type places, like Kentucky or Washington, those type of places. Those are U.S. Outside of U.S., I don't know. Cancun's always fun to visit, even though it's very busy. But it's a nice beach area. It's close by. Aruba is nice. I've never been to Dominican Republic, even though some people have said it's pretty good. Um, I've been to Dubai like 3 times now. I do think if you like futuristic cities, Dubai is awesome and it's super safe and it's cheap. People always think going to Dubai is very expensive. It's not. Besides the flight. The flight is somewhat expensive, but living there is really cheap compared to US standards. And I've been to parts of Asia. I haven't been to that many places. I do not like Singapore. It's just way too hot all year round. Yeah, I do not like Orlando because of Disney World. You could be like stuck in traffic at 1 a.m. It's horrible. I don't ever go to Orlando during like vacation break, like winter vacation or summer vacation, because so many people are in Orlando. Dubai is like weird. If you're coming from the US or anywhere, really, like Dubai is so weird in the sense that it's so like safe. You're just not prepared for it. Like you could be walking around at like 3 a.m. in by yourself. And you don't have to you don't have to worry like you could get robbed or something. You could leave your stuff out and it's like it's crazy. See, that's an example of like a different atmosphere. In the US, you really can't do that unless you're living on a farm. In Dubai, it's just like everyone is well behaved because they know the consequences. I've been to China a few times, but I need to go back. It's been a while. It's been like 10 plus years. So if I go to Bali, I'm probably gonna go to the Bitcoin conference in Hong Kong. That's in August. So I'll see how Hong Kong is, but I don't think that they have changed in the last 10 years. I've been to Hong Kong. Their transportation, their underground railroad system is awesome. But the city itself was kind of old. Um, I've been to Taiwan before, same thing. Taiwan is pretty nice, but still, it's kind of old, because these are like older cities. They're not like really new, really new. But I hear like within mainland China, like Shanghai and others, they're like futuristic cities, kind of like Dubai. Dubai is very futuristic. I just don't know if right now it's the time to go to China with all the disputes between the U.S. and China right now. Yeah, I love shopping in Dubai. Their malls are absolutely insane. Every single one is like world's largest mall, or in the top three or top five. It's crazy. But it's mostly the same shops. It's not like anything new. It's really expensive. It's just like, luxury stores. I haven't really done any street shopping or anything like that. The fun thing is, growing up, I really hated traveling. I always said I can't take like a 13-hour flight. I can't take a 9-hour flight. I certainly can't do a 24-hour flight. But within the last 2 years, I've been doing so much of it, I've kind of got used to it. Like, I don't like to fly 13 hours or 15 hours, but I could do it. It's not a big thing. A 4-hour flight is like almost nothing, now. It's kind of weird how you just kind of get used to it. Would you go to Mexico? I've been to Mexico City. I didn't really explore, but Mexico City is just like, it was better than expected. And it's very different than going to Cancun. You go to Cancun, like even the airport, everyone at the airport's trying to rip you off. Like, it's just so touristy. But if you go to Mexico City, like, no one cares about you. It's like going to a big airport of a big city. That's it. It's a very different vibe. Darcy says, I've been to Bali a lot. It's crowded and hectic. Not a good, like, clean downtown type thing. Yeah, I don't, I hear it's not. Like, traffic is horrible. I can't stand traffic. I don't know if I'm gonna really enjoy Bali that much. How are the tacos in Mexico City? Really good, actually. Ta- Tacos, obviously, or Mexican food in any Mexican city, they're amazing. Not, I mean, you could get good Mexican food in the U.S., obviously, but in Mexico, they just taste better. Like, if you have Chinese food in the U.S., they're all like fake Chinese food. They're not real. They're just invented. Like, most things you have in Chinese restaurants in the U.S. are like not even real Chinese food. But everything in Mexico is like the same, like the same foods, and they taste even better in Mexico. Yeah, I think Dubai is relatively safe for people that are worried about what's going on in the Middle East. They're gonna leave the UAE alone. It's like the richest country in the Middle East. It's such a big tourist destination. I think they're going to leave it alone. At least, you know, they have been left alone for quite some time. Would you say Mexico City safe? I don't know. I didn't venture, much in Mexico City. I stayed there, I went to a hotel, and then I went there because of the IFC. There was a fight last year, and I walked around a little bit. It seemed relatively okay, but I'm sure there are bad parts. And I didn't really venture much into the city. I mean, it's a gigantic city. It's bigger than New York City in terms of population, so I'm sure there are good parts and bad parts. Overkill. Good to see you. I have not been to Thailand. Um, I had an opportunity to go last year, but I was too tired from traveling, so I said no. All right. I think that's it. Well, overall today ain't bad. Could get much better. We're kind of like hovering right now, but we'll get past this. There are too many good things happening for us to stay here stagnant for much longer. So, stay strong, my friends. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.